Hey guys, welcome to ANX Gamecast, level 113. I'm Unbiased Ann, and I'm here with Genesis and Terrence. How's it going, guys?
Going good, going good.
Is it? I'm sleepy. Because riots.
Kept you up.
Protests.
Yeah.
Burning buildings. I gotta watch it. I gotta see what's going on.
Exploding. You didn't put in exploding cars.
Exploding cars? But only because they were burning. No one blew up a car.
Well, true.
So, yeah, so I'm tired. What about you? You good?
I'm good. I had some coffee.
Oh, okay.
My espresso.
All right.
All right. What are you excited to talk about today?
Terrence?
I'm ready for Final Fantasy.
I'm ready for Final Fantasy. More specifically, the conversation in round 2 that leads right into the Final Fantasy conversation. So, yeah, that's what I'm ready for. So, let's go ahead and do the social media thing. Real quick, what are you excited to talk about?
I know. I was like, you're about to just skip over me.
Hey.
I'm excited to talk about Final Fantasy 7 Remake.
Okay. Specific.
Not the original.
Not the original. Okay, so let's do the social media thing real quick. Follow us at ANX Gamecast on all social media outlets and wherever you get your favorite podcast. Speaking of your favorite podcast, if you're listening to this right now, Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, inside joke.
Always Apple.
We are on YouTube under AVersion TV, so go check us out there if you want to see this episode as well as listen to it. Again, AVersion TV. Make sure to like us, like some of the tracks, follow, and hit the notification bell so you can get all the updates. Y'all ready to jump into round 1?
Yes.
Ready.
Round 1.
Current anime. I already know what Terrence has watched, but I'm still going to start with him anyway. Terrence, what you been watching?
Nothing.
Oh, I never heard of that one. Is it like nothing, like IN apostrophe, or nothing?
Like NOTH.
Oh, okay.
So basically right now, a lot of the stuff that I watch is subtitled. It is from Crunchyroll. I do some Funimation, but I stick to Crunchyroll. But right now, Crunchyroll is on I won't say hiatus, but a lot of the shows, since they're produced in Japan, they're on hiatus and they don't know when they're going to put anything out right now.
Yeah.
So I'm not watching anything.
So I don't necessarily watch new things anyway. So that wouldn't affect me regardless. And I honestly don't watch things on streaming services. I'm watching my current anime on a streaming service. But generally speaking, I'll just go out and buy the DVD of whatever I'm looking for, right? I might not be up to date like Terrence is on all the new anime, but I'll watch stuff on Toonami, or I will, again, go buy the Blu-ray of something that came out last season, right? That's kind of how that works. But I'm still watching Neon Genesis, and it is still good. And it's still dope. Like, man, it's dope. Like, you don't understand. Like, you should understand because you've seen it, but it is dope.
I don't understand.
You don't understand, not yet.
No,
because she's only seen one episode.
Okay.
Yeah. So one day you will understand. Remember how I told you Star Trek was dope?
Yeah.
And you were like, Star Wars is better.
Well, you are the one that said Star Trek is better than Star Wars.
It is.
And I was like, I don't know about all that.
Right. Remember I told you that?
Yes.
It's the same thing with Neon Genesis. Neon Genesis is dope. Anyway. What?
It's not even worth it.
Isn't it?
I didn't think I would like Star Trek, but I really do like it. I like
Star
it
Trek
a lot.
It's good. You have more build up. You have more in Star Trek because you have like a full season.
Yeah.
Star Wars, you have a movie and everything is compressed. So don't get me wrong, I love Star Wars, but
it's hard to compare the two.
Right.
It's hard to compare the two.
All I said was Star Trek is better.
I mean, I used to like the original phasers, like in the original, the little toy phasers. They shoot beams that if they turn it up to maximum could disintegrate you.
Yeah.
And then their weaponry has progressed over the years. But yeah, it's good to like both.
Yeah, I like both,
You can
but
like
like you know me, one is better, and that better is Star Trek. But anyway, did I steer you wrong with Star Trek?
No, you didn't. It's good.
Neon Genesis, I'm trying to tell you.
If you can get past the weirdness,
Yeah, I mean, it took me a little while, but
Neon Genesis is more psychological.
Oh, okay.
More psychological.
She's just stuck on Star Trek.
I thought you were talking about the weirdness of Star Trek. And I'm like, when I first started watching it, I was kind of like,
no. This if you're like that on Star Trek, this is a whole different type because it's more psychological.
Gotcha.
So what you watching? What you got?
Dragon Ball Z.
Dragon Ball Z?
I
don't know because the weekly update. You sure that's not Yu-Gi-Oh?
Oh.
Yeah. So let me get a quick plug in because I don't think I ever promote this show. We have another podcast called the ANX Weekly Update that is exclusive to YouTube under AVersion TV. So go check it out. We are the one that is not in Spanish, and we had a guest on who also has a show on AVersion TV, and she thought Super Saiyan Gohan was Yu-Gi-Oh.
Ooh.
She didn't know. She didn't watch it.
She didn't know. So are you sure you're watching Dragon Ball Z or,
yes.
or are you watching? Do they have cards?
No.
Oh, okay. It might be Dragon Ball Z.
Yu-Gi-Oh's not bad.
Oh, Yu-Gi-Oh hard, but you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, what's going on Dragon Ball Z?
Goku is training with forgot his name.
What?
What's his name?
King
Kai.
Okay.
Yes. So he is training with King Kai.
So he finally got there.
He got there, and then basically King Kai was like, you need to chase the monkey around, Bubbles or whatever.
Ain't it sound racial? Okay.
No, it's a monkey.
I've been watching too many protests.
Boy.
It's a real monkey. Anyway,
Okay.
So he's been doing that. Basically, the whole episode is Goku getting faster and faster, and then he finally catches up to Bubbles. Meanwhile, Gohan is training with Piccolo.
Catching the beat down.
And he's calling him a crybaby. It's really funny.
So
even though he hasn't been crying lately, but it's funny.
Gohan he did enough crying those first 15 episodes.
Yeah.
For a lifetime.
And I think that's it. Like, there's not a lot has happened.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll last for a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at.
So you still liking it?
Yeah.
Okay. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Well.
So we'll see. 88 days is going to go by, hopefully fast. Gohan training. That's how long he has before.
See, she paying attention, taking notes.
Before the Vegeta looking guy shows up.
Vegeta briefs?
Yeah. Well, he's not Vegeta briefs because he's not really Vegeta yet to me. And he hasn't met, what's her name?
Bulma. Okay. So I'm spoiling stuff.
Spoiler.
Well, I already know they get together.
Oh, okay.
And somebody else already spoiled that was Vegeta. So even though I'm still not clear on how that's going to happen, so we'll see.
Yeah. It's very weird that they haven't announced that his name is Vegeta yet, but whatever.
Yeah.
But, he'll be on Earth soon in 88 days.
Yeah.
So she's still in the 80s in her Dragon Ball Z watching. So.
That's 80s?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean when it originally came out?
Yeah.
Like over in Japan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's all 80s stuff. If you can't tell by the music and the graphics, it's not great.
You're so serious. It's not great.
Not great. But anyway, y'all ready for round 2?
Yes.
Round 2.
Conversation time. So, without trying to give away too much stuff on how I feel about Final Fantasy VII Remake, I want to have a general conversation about how we feel about games, and I'm going to try to be nice about it. No, I'm never nice about it. Forget that. About game developers who change their game to appeal to a broader audience. How do you feel about that just in general?
So it really depends on the game.
Okay.
But if you change it to, I feel like this, if you have a story that you're trying to tell, and we'll use Mass Effect 3.
Never played Mass Effects, but okay. I mean, I heard about what happened with
right. There was such outrage at the ending of their story.
Protests.
Mm-hmm. And letters and hate mail that they changed it to have an alternative ending. 3 endings.
Oh,
just like Neon Genesis.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I didn't know that was why they had 3 different ones. I thought it was particular.
Yeah, that lady got death threats.
People didn't understand it.
Right.
And that's usually what happens when people don't understand something. It usually doesn't, or what they feel like is fixed, and a fixed path should happen. But this ain't your money.
right.
And when you see something, So if I have a story, I'm trying to tell a story. I don't change my story for everybody. I don't change it at all. If you don't understand it, ask me. And then I'll help you. But I'm not going to change. So I feel the same way about video game developers. If you make a story, if you make a game, leave it the way that it is. Period.
Now, some games need to change. Like
evolve or...
Yeah, like Grand Theft Auto, when it went from the top view. There was a small, hardcore fan base of Grand Theft Auto who didn't want it to change. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's anyone out there that would argue that the old style of GTA before 3
right.
is better than 3 or anything that's come since.
Correct.
I don't think that's a real thing.
No, I wouldn't mind seeing what top down looked like graphically if they could make it beautiful. But no, hands down, it's much better.
Right. Same thing happened with the Burnout series, right? You had Burnout. I didn't play it. I don't know anybody who played it. And EA took it over, and people hate EA. However, that game was much better than it was before. And so okay, sometimes things need to change. When you have something like Final Fantasy VII, which is one of the best games ever made, for me, it is the best game ever made, and it is the top selling Final Fantasy game in history. Final Fantasy VII is number 1 out of all the Final Fantasy games.
Yeah.
You take it and you remake it, but you change it drastically. And,
so, can I ask you a question?
Uh-huh.
Well, number 1, why do you think, this may not fit into this, but why do you, is the thing, I don't even know how to word this. No, my question was originally, why do you think it was the best selling game? What about it? But hold on. But then it kind of leads to, are the things that you think made it the best, like the reason it's the best, those things, were those the things that were changed?
Some of them.
Okay.
Yeah, some of them. The things that I see changed the most, there's a group of people out there. Final Fantasy VII was so big. There are some gamers out there. Those people who play a couple games, what they call themselves a gamer. They've played the game, but got stuck and couldn't get past certain parts, so they quit playing it. There are also of those gamers who say they don't like the turn-based. I don't like the turn-based. I just want to get up there and hack and slash. I just want to get up there and fight. Okay.
JRPG.
So... And I don't even think these people know what a JRPG is. I just think they're so used to hack and slash games that came out, or maybe dungeon crawlers, maybe Dynasty Warriors, maybe that style of game that is not, is not a JRPG, but they want to fight. They want some action.
So I think what it is this. If you came from Call of Duty, you're used to having more input. You actually have the ability to do so much more. With most RPGs, you had fight, defend, item, or flee. And you could choose between those. Some of them had subsets, some of them didn't. So if, like you said fight, then you could go to fight, and then you go to spell. And then you use your materia in order to, is it materia? Materia in order to cast your spells. Or you could flee if you was getting handled, or you could defend if there was a super attack coming. So now it is a lot of hack and slash.
It's hack and slash
and
battle system as opposed to a turn-based battle system.
And your defense is evading now, and so you can try to get out of the way, but sometimes it doesn't matter. Sometimes you just get hit regardless. Now, if it's a machine gun, you're going to get hit because they're spraying.
Yeah, but they don't take off that much.
They don't take off that much. Sometimes if they lock onto you, and if you don't know precisely when it's coming, you can get hit that way too.
So to get more to your question, some of the things that I liked about Final Fantasy VII was the story.
Yeah.
Like the story would be 1 and 2, of my top 10 things that I like about Final Fantasy. The story. The characters, the music. Yeah. All A+ from Final Fantasy VII. The
original.
Right. The usage of materia in conjunction with your items in the turn-based battle system. So I just named off like 6 things.
Yeah.
Sephiroth. Enough said.
Sephiroth.
7 things right there. Yeah, a lot of that stuff in this game has been changed. Story has been changed. How you get materia has changed. The characters have slightly changed as well.
Somewhat.
So yeah, it's like, but a lot of stuff they changed, I don't hear it as far as a public forum, but people that I know that are not really hardcore gamers or RPG gamers, they changed all the stuff that those people did not like about this game.
So you're thinking that the developers changed Final Fantasy VII to open it up to more players?
Yeah.
Like they made it a little easier?
It's easier. Yeah. Easy. It's an easier game. It's easier to play.
I don't really feel like it's easier. I feel like you have different options. So if you never want to do anything and you just want to, they have an easy mode in this.
Mm-hmm. Which don't most games?
Not at that time. It didn't.
No. The original, you couldn't choose.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The story is, and so it's different for me. Let me say this: the graphics and the look of the game.
But wait, we're not in the review yet. We're still just having a conversation about developers changing stuff. He ready.
He's ready.
He ready.
Well, yeah, because
it's hard to talk about it and not talk about it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's like it's like icing on the cake.
Well, I was just
But
using this
then
as an example.
So generally speaking, let's not talk about Final Fantasy VII. Let's talk about your general comment of how do you feel about game developers changing games to fit more people?
I don't necessarily like it because if it wasn't for people like me who love Final Fantasy VII and played it and was ready for this remake and played it the way it was, there would be no remake.
Mm-hmm.
There might not even been a Final Fantasy 8 or 9, right? If it wasn't for the hardcore players out there playing Final Fantasy 7 and all the different Final Fantasies the way it was before. I'm not saying the game can't evolve, but oh my geez, this game is like totally different. It's not a remake. It's like a redo. Right? I don't know. I don't know what
redo.
I don't know what this is. So yeah, generally speaking, I guess I don't like it. Yeah. Generally speaking, I don't like it. So like some games, my thing is if it was a bad game and you made it better, okay. If it was the best game ever made or the top selling Final Fantasy game, and this is another reason why I think it's the best game ever made from just high level. Yeah. My favorite types of genre of games is RPG. I feel like Final Fantasy is one of the best RPG franchises. I feel like Final Fantasy VII is the best Final Fantasy I've ever played.
Enix and Enix makes the best RPGs.
And I feel like Final Fantasy VII is the best one that was created by Squaresoft, which is now Square Enix. So, but that's the best game ever made to me.
So what's another game that came out that the game developers completely changed? Can you think of any?
Well, I named them earlier. Burnout, Grand Theft Auto.
Oh, okay.
They changed, and it also changed the trials, the mana, secrets of mana. So all of the games in the earlier ones, the trial of mana, they were all RPGs based on turn-based. Mm-hmm. Now they are
action.
JRPGs, which the hack and slash.
So and that's why I say Final Fantasy VII was easier, because to me, having strategy with turn-based style gaming versus just hitting square over and over. I mean, come on.
Mm-hmm. I can see where somebody who, especially when it comes to a specific game, they wouldn't want it changed to make it, to open it up for more people.
I mean, just imagine if they just. Or what they did. Not completely, but see what they did with Fallout. Yeah. They took your game that I didn't like it, but you thought it was a good game.
Loved it.
Took that good game, sold all these copies, and then completely changed the experience. Yep. I mean, how do you feel about that?
I hate it.
Well, there you go. I hated it.
I loved Fallout 4. I wish they would have just made a Fallout 5.
And what was one of the things you liked about Fallout 4? The characters?
Love the characters.
Guess what they didn't have in 76?
Right.
Characters.
Right. Love the characters.
But
Love
we don't know. Have any of us gone back to it since?
I'm just saying.
No, but it's on his to-do list.
I'm just saying that stuff just came out. The game been out for a year and a half.
Yeah.
I put it on his to-do list.
Okay.
Even though he doesn't want to. But no, I hear what you're saying. Yeah, no, they took basically everything that I loved about Fallout 4 away.
Now, it's one thing to change stuff. It's another thing to change it just because that's what people are asking for. That's what I don't like. I'm more with you on the point you were trying to make, which was I'm trying to tell this story. I'm going to tell the story how I'm going to tell the story. So I'm trying to make this game. I'm going to make this game how I want to make this game. Assuming that there's no major glitches or flaws or, anything fundamentally wrong with the game.
When you update a game, which most of the systems do, when you update, don't update the story.
Yeah.
Update the glitchy stuff.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Don't change the story for me. Because if you change the story for me, say I'm playing and I get to, we'll use Neo 2. I'm playing through the story. If the story changes after I've already done something, I'm not going back to that. Because that's not what I'm playing for.
Yeah.
I'm following this path, this story path. And then, oh, no, we're going to change it. So now you have two paths. No. I have the path that I started on. If you change the game, I'll never go back and do it.
So I say all this to get into the Final Fantasy VII review.
Let's just do it.
Let's do it. Y'all ready? Getting to round 3?
Yes.
Round 3.
Because I have a feeling you have some things to say.
So luckily for Square Enix, we didn't do this podcast a month ago, which we should have, because there's some things that I don't like about this game, but it's still better than Neo 2.
You hurried up and got that out, but okay.
Still better than Neo 2 that we reviewed before Final Fantasy VII for some reason. I think there was another game that we reviewed before Final Fantasy VII. Okay, so so luckily we didn't do it a month ago because I was really ticked off at this game a month ago. But it's been so long since I played it, I picked it up again to get a refresher before we did this review, that I guess I've calmed down a little bit. But yeah, I was really, really unhappy with some of the stuff that I saw in Final Fantasy VII Remake a month ago. First off, the characters seem... So I don't want to sound like... Okay, this is what I feel like, just generally speaking. I feel like one of those people who read Lord of the Rings and then went and watched Lord of the Rings and didn't like it. That's what I feel like is happening with Final Fantasy VII. Final Remake. Final Fantasy VII, in this case, will be the book.
Uh-huh.
This Final Fantasy Remake is some kind of shortened kind of movie version of that book. That's how I feel. Now, they've added some filler in between that didn't necessarily happen in the original game, which is weird to me. And the reason I'm comparing it to Lord of the Rings, reading the book versus watching the movie, is Final Fantasy VII on PlayStation didn't have voiceovers. So all I could do is read and interpret how I think the characters are. And then we've seen Advent Children, right? Mm-hmm. And stuff like that. These characters, all of them seem to be very over the top.
Okay. So
way over the top. And I'm like, this is not how I envision. And it's mostly on the villain side, where it's just really, really flamboyant over the top with some of the characters.
Oh, Barrett is over the top.
And then Barrett is over the top too. I didn't, yeah. So I was really disappointed in the characters, like everyone. And the guy with the motorcycle.
Yeah, he was like overly flamboyant to the point where it was almost like, what you trying to do? What is this?
Right. Which, generally speaking, when I played the Final Fantasy VII, I never had that kind of question or anything that like that. It was like, oh, this is dope. Oh, this is dope. Oh, this is cool too. Oh, what happened? Oh no. Yeah. So the characters, Cloud doesn't bother me too much
because Cloud was stale even then.
Yeah, he's a little softer than I thought he was gonna be, but he's still pretty much.
Was it always about the money?
In the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just like, I'm just taking a job.
Okay.
But I feel like they're doing more with Jesse than they did in the original.
Jesse
it's more
was
about the money.
Yeah, Jesse and all the and Biggs, all of the first initial 3, they were like in and out. It wasn't like this.
We're gonna hang out and work together and
let's have some drinks.
Yeah,
because generally speaking, not Jesse but Wedge and Biggs are just, I don't want to say mock characters, but they're in all of the Squaresoft games that came out back then. So Wedge and Biggs were just in there just because Wedge and Biggs always has to be in there. Like,
yeah.
But outside of that, it's like they didn't have that big a role in what was going on.
Okay, so they have a much bigger role here.
Yeah, all this stuff about going to Jesse's house.
That was I don't ever remember that.
Yeah.
What is all this?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I don't mind them adding, but how short the game, at least from what I was told, how short the game is, and it's supposed to only be 3 parts. You got enough content from the original game to make 3 parts without adding stuff. So what are you taking out exactly?
Yeah.
I feel like there's been a whole lot more of the flashbacks or whatever's happening to Cloud, seeing Sephiroth and confront, way more of that happening, which looks cool and sounds cool, but it's like, I don't remember that happening. And a lot of this is just fluff. And a lot of this is just me kind of running around in circles in the same small area.
Right. And the one way to lose me when I'm playing a game is give me like a side mission that I feel is like stupid. So when the little girl said, "Can you go save my kitty?"
Oh
yeah,
my gosh,
I almost stopped. Because when you go to try to get it,
it runs every time.
That was, and then you have to go back to her, and then they're like, "Well, you can't find my kitties," and then they come to her.
Yeah,
I was like, "This is the biggest."
So good. The good thing for me was I think I accumulated multiple tasks at that point. Mm-hmm. So while I was doing the other ones, I would hear, yeah.
Right.
And so I'm like, okay, like I know I'm supposed to be doing something with a cat too. Let me get that. I'm gonna click that real quick. I was already in that area. I didn't go looking for cats.
Yeah, I did them individually, but and because I had already finished all the other 3, the grave, the one in the graveyard, which was the one bird, and it didn't really. The one of your first Matera is access. So it gives you their weaknesses and stuff or whatever.
Which also was not a thing, but okay.
I think you had something that you could do because most RPGs have like a skill where you can scan.
Mm-hmm. Scan. Yeah.
It was called scan. It wasn't called access. So
and I don't think you got it in the beginning either.
No. And you didn't have a little kid who was part of Shinra who was against Shinra.
I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
And yo. Not only did you not have this kid sitting there making materia for you if you can go do some kind of research for him
and save your money
and then get it for free, basically.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. When you found new materia on Final Fantasy VII, it was a big deal. Now they're just giving it everywhere. It's everywhere, and they're just giving it to you for free.
Or like what, like when Barrett's, and when you go to that and you say, "Oh, it's a blue Matera," and you try to go get it. And Barrett says you're being greedy, and you have to go around and you have to go back around and then go and get it the other way. Right. And then the pink one, you have to do the thing where you up and down, lower, and then you can just grab it. But it takes you a while. If you're not one who wants to search for stuff, you can
skip it and miss it
and get by without it.
Mm-hmm.
So let me say this. And I was telling him, graphically, the game was beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, the graphics are dope as I don't know what.
Beautiful.
Even for a moment when I'm playing and it shows you the down drop view when you up in the sky and on the plates and you look down, it gives you that feel like whoa, I'm high up here because the look. So that portion was awesome.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of holes in the story. To the point where it makes you second guess what you played originally. And I know it's a remake. So in a remake, you change things. Sometimes things change. Because we watch movies that are remakes.
Yeah, and they're different.
And they're different. That doesn't mean that they're good.
Right.
That just means that they're like. Here's my only problem. My problem with the play style. You have 3 play styles: classic, which is the old RPG way. You have,
but it's not.
But it's not. But it's really not.
But it's really not.
Classic, you have easy, and then you have normal. Here's the problem that I had with all of this hack and slash. You can fit them all to use materia. that doesn't mean that they will use it at all unless you switch to them.
Right.
So there's no strategy in like, you know, most. So let me say this: like I'm playing, and we talked about it. I'm playing Trials of Mana. Trials of Mana has a strategy system in it where you can basically tell the character what to do. If you want that to be a healer, protect first. If you want them, whatever the situation is.
I thought you could do something like that.
You could not.
Because I thought you can have them run off on their own. They stay close to you, or
not in this one. They don't.
I thought that was in there.
And so,
but it wasn't detailed. But I think you pretty much know what they're going to do if you tell them to do a certain thing.
Here's the issue with all of that. And because I've died twice. I think I died when I fought the missiles because I don't like playing as Barrett. So if you don't
racial,
no, he's over the top, and he has a child that looks nothing like him.
But that was in the original, so I'm glad they kept that.
Right. So here's my issue with that. If you're going to change it and update the story, make it more like I said, here's the thing, and I think this was the bigger thing for me with the story. It seemed outdated. They gave it a new face, but some of the things in the game seemed outdated. The Barito character, especially in the time that we're living in now, there is diversity. So this game should have been able, if you're going to change it, expand on it. But he didn't really. And like he was like when Cloud went in and said, "Hey, little girl, don't you talk to my daughter. You scaring her." He's so over the top that it was just like, are you serious? Like that didn't even fit that part. Just that screaming and yelling, or when he was on the train and he was
yelling at the people on the train.
He just was so over the top, and all he did was yell, or a Soldier Boy, or he just seemed like a grunt, and I get that they tried to keep it that, but Barrett in the original seemed more to me, and in this one he seemed less.
He seemed like a bonehead in this one.
Correct.
He didn't really seem like that in the original. This one, I don't want to say he was dumb in this one, but
he did dumb things.
He did dumb things, and he did made more decisions based off his emotion.
Correct.
Which sometimes people can look at as well, that was dumb. You shouldn't have done that, or you shouldn't have said that.
Even Tifa said, "Would you go in there and check on him before he do something stupid?"
Yeah.
So the story, like you said, it had some issues. The playstyle had a lot of issues because you have to change. So basically, that's a strategy in itself as well. But you can get caught up in there because Barrett, his evade is horrid. He'll do like this half roll, and it's not like a full roll. Where Cloud and Tifa, they actually kind of
they got Cloud in there like some kind of ninja man. The way he jumps around and does some kind of crazy stuff.
Because you can get in Punisher mode and be halfway across the screen.
Like I didn't know Cloud was a ninja. I thought he was a soldier, a part of Soldier. Which, just FYI, if you didn't know, like soldier is like a thing. It's not like you're a soldier in the military. Like it is,
but it's a group. It's like
right.
It's like Navy SEALs are to the Navy. It's the SEAL team. He's that on that step above.
It's like the higher prestige.
But it's called Soldier.
Okay.
Right.
And it just and in Tifa, in order to do her like super moves, you had to start with one, then lead into another. If you didn't have your bars, you still couldn't lead into them.
So Tifa go hard on her as far as her. I like using her, like her fighting. Right. If I'm gonna do an action kind of, and I'm tired of hack and slash,
you can change.
I can get her and be punching. Okay, I like that part. I don't like this fact that I can start off the fight and not be able to do my magic.
Correct.
It's like, what is that?
Right, what do you have it for?
Right. You have to get your bar up, and that actually doesn't just come with the first. You could actually be in the fight for a couple of seconds before you actually are able to.
You got to go over there and hack and slash first. Then you can use some magic.
Correct.
Now, the magic does seem OP'd in this game. As soon as you use it, whatever enemy you're fighting is dead. Even mini bosses.
Well, it depends. It depends on if they're weak to it. If they're weak to it,
assuming that you've already did the scan. Or
if they're weak to it, it takes off like $2,000. Like we fought the car, the thing that looks like a little car revved up like the tank. It's electricity, and
for mechanical things, use ANX Pro tips if you don't want to scan stuff. Humans, burn them up. I guess that makes sense. You wouldn't want to be set on fire.
Animals, ice.
and then anything that's mechanical use electricity on it.
So I mean,
and the birds Aerial with the wind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
It just.
Now, what I will say, the only honestly, I think the only thing that saved it for me, I don't think it's a bad game at all. It's not a bad game, but again, not trying to diss Neo 2, but you can see some of the similarities between the two. The play style, can you not?
It's a
hack and slash. You run around from that third person kind of view.
Oh, the camera in this one was worse than Neo though. I think a lot of the camera view in Final Fantasy was horrible because you could be not fighting, but if you're trying to go a certain way,
yeah,
the camera would be looking this way, but you need it to be
over here.
Yeah. It had a lot of camera issues.
But I'm just saying, by the gameplay itself, it's this third person. It's the third person kind of view
with a group,
and you
hack and slash with a group,
and you hack and slash, right? So again, me playing it, being mad about certain things in it, and then having to fire up Neo 2 because we had to do that podcast. Appreciated Final Fantasy VII Remake a lot more after I played Neo 2 because I was just like, okay. Go ahead.
So talk about, because you mentioned it just now and you've mentioned it before, the classic, how it's not the classic.
Well, the original game was turn-based, which is what he was explaining earlier. Yeah. Which is, you got three. It sounds boring and silly if you think about it, because a real fight wouldn't happen like this.
Correct.
But it would be me standing here, you standing there, and we're looking at each other. No, nothing's happening until I choose the commands that I want my person to take.
But the bar has to fill up first. No,
that's for like a limit break. I can go from the original game. I can go do attack, or I can do my magic. So I have to go choose attack,
what you want to do,
and who I want to attack.
Okay.
Attack. I'm by his hand. Then it shows you everything that happens.
Yeah.
It's turn based.
Correct.
But you're saying you can choose classic mode, but it's still not turn based.
No. Like they do this weird thing where sometimes when you're in the screens to select what you want to do, it slows down time. So it's almost like nothing is happening on the other side. It's
but you can still get hit.
You can still get hit, but it's going in slow motion. While you choose your option,
and you couldn't push the buttons too fast because sometimes instead of doing evasion, it would put you in the menu. So it had some hiccups. It had more hiccups than I thought it would.
Yeah.
Especially, I'm glad you said that because that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah.
There's a lot of glitches in this game with the amount of time that it took for them to put this game out.
Correct.
There should be no glitches here.
Correct.
And you don't get the benefit of the doubt. You're like the one of the biggest video game companies in the world.
Yeah.
You get no benefit of the doubt here. You're not some kind of startup company. You're not State of Decay 2, man.
And you've been working on this
forever. How do you have glitches? And for me, the glitch, I don't know what glitches you saw. I'll let you get to it. But the ones I saw was really, like you were talking about, more with the moving around and whenever you had to do an animation, open a door, how your character would just slide across the floor.
Yeah, right out in front
of it.
Right out in front of it. You could be right there, see it, get ready to do it, and you would slide out of the way. Or they had the ones that you couldn't just open by pushing the button. You had to hold it. And then you had to wait.
Which didn't make a whole lot of sense.
No.
Because some doors you open by hitting triangle. The other ones you open by holding triangle.
Yeah. That didn't make any sense. And then they had the chest, the little metal. Do we have those in the original? Where the metal boxes that you cut open and is okay. So here's
no.
What?
That's a hack and slash game element.
Okay. So here's the thing, because I know you've been saving this, and I don't remember Moogle keys.
No. There's nothing to remember, as far as I remember.
So like certain boxes you open, you get a key.
Yeah.
Also, in this one, they will put a limit on how much you can buy. So like, which was another problem for me. Say I want to go in here and I don't want to use my spells at all. Then let me buy my high potions. That way I don't have to worry about anything. But you only can, in certain places, you can only buy like one high potion. Or you can only buy certain things. It made it to the point where you had to follow this new path that they're on, not because you necessarily wanted to, and you understood what the previous had, but like if you go to soda machine, and then right here now they have like the park bench where you sit on the park bench
and rest or whatever.
That doesn't even make sense.
It doesn't.
I mean, I get it. It makes, again, easier. There's this big boss here. What was some of the complaints about the original Final Fantasy VII where people quit playing it? I couldn't get past the scorpion. Okay, well, that means you can't read. It literally told you at the top of the screen what you needed to do.
Yeah, hide behind the...
No. I'm talking about in the original.
Oh.
In the original game, they couldn't beat the scorpion. It literally said, when the tail is up, do not attack. And people probably were still attacking. And then it hit you with that laser beam and all your people die. You just wait for the tail to come down, then you start attacking. This one, okay, people are having trouble with bosses. Let's put some place right outside the boss where you can buy items and where you can heal yourself and save.
Did we buy records in the first one?
No.
So in this one you buy records.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of weird.
Can listen to the soundtrack. I know that's a cool little gimmick. I guess you call it a gimmick.
Yeah.
But that's not something I want to do. I care about.
No, I thought that was weird.
And I'm pretty sure it's a rare trophy issue, but I think that's a waste of money. Mm-hmm. And I think that the material is a waste of money because even though that the vending machine, if you walk around long enough, you'll find. I think I have 4 lightnings.
Right, but it's a situation for me anyway where my hardcore RPG mind is like, I have the opportunity to get this new move. I need to get it now, right? Mm-hmm. I know I will find it, but my RPG mind is I need to own at least one of everything that's here for sale.
Here's my issue. You have a spell. It's another thing. I remember back in the day when you cast a spell, nobody could get past it. So I set him on fire, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not gonna set you on fire, but I go to use my materia to set him on fire, right? And he just do the damage. In this one, if you try to cast ice, sometimes they'll outmaneuver it.
Dodge or
they'll just kind of go through it. So you just used up because right now I think I have Blizzaria, which is the second one. Mm-hmm. It uses a lot of your because you don't really have a lot of magic points.
No, now you can change your weapon.
Right.
And it's more tailored towards magic.
Correct.
Versus, your normal attack, or you have a balanced weapon. But yeah, I think the second level takes 11 or 13 MP.
And you probably have 40. So if you use it, you use
30 or 40,
Yeah, you use it 3 times, it's done. And especially in the middle battle. So it's just like you stop using certain things because they are dodgeable. Fire, no. When you set somebody on fire, it usually gets them. Wind is well, but that ice, it's like it has to crystallize and then it does the damage. So really, they have to be knocked down for it to work. Especially with those scorpions, the ones who cast poison in the webs. They're allergic to the ice, and lightning does damage pretty quick too. But ice, it just takes too long. And in the middle of a battle, depending on what style of battle it is, it's just. The strategy portion that they use in here is, I thought they
there is no strategy.
No.
You hack and slash. And if you get into a pinch, you heal, or you got your bar up enough, you go and do a spell, or you do your limit break.
And the limit breaks are cooler because Tifa does her somersault kick. That's some kind of kick she does. And then Cloud does his Z move. And then Barrett has one where he shoots like a Dragon Ball Z fireball. Mm-hmm. But it's far and few in between. Now, Ifrit is a beast.
Yeah, but I'm not sure how. I don't know how I feel about it. Because you summon the summon,
and he lets you do what
and he fights with you,
right?
As opposed to the original game where they come out and they do one big move.
He does the one big move at the end.
If the battle lasts long enough.
Yeah, I only bring him out on the bosses. So basically, that's a strategy because that takes the heat off you for a while to go and
I haven't been in a situation where I absolutely needed him, or limit breaks for that matter. I use them because I think they look cool.
Yeah, I don't use limit breaks that much.
But other than that, I haven't needed them because the game, like I said, is fairly easy to me. So I don't know. So you heard all this hype. Final Fantasy VII, best game ever made. What you think about this game? Obviously, you haven't seen or experienced Final Fantasy VII, the original, but what do you think about this game?
I like this game because I like the story.
Okay.
And I like the little challenges and stuff that they present, but that's only from like a spectator. I'm not obviously playing the game, but I always like when there's interaction and there's a story.
You like deep stories.
Yeah. And then I love this. I got to share it because I found the picture. Oh. So right when the game came on, right, he's playing it. I'm looking at it, and Biggs comes on, and I'm staring at Biggs, and I'm like, he looks just like Charlie Sheen in this like 80s, 90s movie, late 80s, early 90s. I couldn't remember the name of the movie, but I was like, he looks just like. So I finally like Google it, and there's already like a thread. You can see like the similarity. I know there's a glare, but I was like, oh my God, this is like a thing. People had already been talking about how they look alike from whatever movie he was in. I can't remember. And his voice sounds like Charlie Sheen too. The old Charlie Sheen, a young Charlie Sheen. Anyway, no, but I like it. I don't love it. I mean, it's not like, Fallout 4, but.
Well, I think that now we know they changed the story a little bit. Now, I don't think they're going to change any of the main parts. So I think once you get to the main parts of the story, you'll be like, OSH.
So in the beginning, did the ghosts come out? Did you have to fight the ghosts in the beginning?
What ghosts? Like those black ones going
when they
around the city?
Wake up, time to dream. Well, he said, what time to dream?
Yeah.
So here's another problem for me.
Wait, you mean in the original game?
Yeah.
So those black cloaks and stuff came up like at certain other points in the game. I don't remember if they came up in the very beginning, but I know there was one mansion where they were all in the mansion.
Okay, so here's the thing: you got the dude in the beginning, who's in the room, and you're about to gut check him.
Right. The guy next door.
Right, yeah. And you don't really go into that, and then you have when they say wake up, sleep more.
Yeah. And
then you get up. So you don't even really know. It almost made me feel like, so I'm fighting him in a dream until the chick gets hurt. And then you're like, oh no, it's real. Because to me, I was like, when he said sleep some more, I'm dreaming. This fight I'm doing right now is a dream. And in reality, it wasn't. So there are times when it's just like,
yeah,
what's going on here? So,
but isn't that Final Fantasy VII? Without spoiling anything?
Oh, like not knowing if it's real? Is it like Inception? Like you don't know if it's real if you're in a dream?
I don't know. I'm not saying.
Right.
Oh.
But like I said, like if you like the story so far, you'll really like the story once something actually starts happening.
The bigger stuff.
Because, let me see.
Fourth wall.
This is a Final Fantasy VII Remake review. We're going to try to do something new though.
What?
This is going to be a review for chapters 1 through 5 specifically. Maybe
so there's 15?
I believe 15, something like that. So maybe we'll come maybe we'll come back and do 6 through, 10 later, and then finish it off and do it that way. So like I said, the parts you've seen so far is just minimal little avalanche crap.
Correct.
Oh.
This is just Avalanche versus Shinra, which is most of the first disc of the original game, but it's Avalanche. It's basically Avalanche versus the big corporation who is killing the Earth.
It reminded me of what was the Roller Girl movie?
Roller Girl movie?
Akira.
Akira.
Alita. Battle Angel.
This kind of reminded me of that because in that, remember the slums were down here and the nice city was up above.
Yeah.
And it kind of seemed like that's what they were doing.
That's funny. That's what it's called, the slums.
Yeah.
The whole place is called Midgar, but the specific area where you live is called the slums.
Oh, well, maybe I just remembered that. I didn't realize. But that's how Alita was. Remember everybody that lived, it was like underneath it. Mm-hmm. It seemed like that's what was going on here too.
Yeah. So this is the what terrorist they're calling them terrorist group. What do we want to call them? Avalanche. Whatever. So this is just the group going against the big corporation who's killing the Earth.
And Avalanche is a big group because based upon this game, there was that other faction.
Right.
Which I don't remember that.
Which wasn't a part of Avalanche, but there were just some people they knew who kind of had the same cause. Maybe not the same cause, maybe not saving the Earth, but they were definitely against Shinra. But yeah, I don't remember that either.
Right.
I don't remember having these random allies.
Right.
Okay.
Who basically brought Wedge out and left.
Yeah, I do remember Reno and the Turks, who were bad guys, but they were more like Team Rocket on Pokemon.
Correct.
Like they're bad guys, but it's like, I don't really take y'all serious. Sometimes y'all might do something that can help us. It was like kind of comic relief. You know, that's how I remember Reno and the Turks.
This one, they weren't comic relief.
No, they had the heavy artillery. They were ready to go. So I don't know who these people are. It's like half of the story that you've seen so far is not an original game.
And I've had to ask him about things that have not been in here more than I have about anything, because there's some of them are small, some of them are big, and so.
But it's all filler. It doesn't matter. All the new stuff that I've seen, or maybe just stuff that I don't remember.
Well, the ghosts
has nothing to do with anything.
With the main
right of what I'm expecting to happen, because I've already beaten the original game, right?
Yeah.
So I think I already know the story because I read it. All this extra stuff in between, all this Jessie Cloud flirting, and I like
because if I remember correctly, didn't she die? Jessie didn't die.
I don't know.
Uh-oh. Well.
Spoiler alert.
It's irrelevant though.
Yeah.
Because in the first game she was irrelevant.
Right. Yeah.
So whatever.
Right. You were just the extra crewman that came on a away mission on Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't part of the senior crew. You were just the other guy.
She was red shirt.
Red shirt, yellow.
Yellows don't die that quick though.
Yeah. But yeah, you're just that guy. So it's like, what is all this? What is all this backstory? Going to your parents' house? What is all this?
For pizza.
And
stealing a card.
Flirting with Cloud and like what?
Your daddy in here, he ain't dead, but he there. And I'm going to sneak in there and take the badge out of his uniform, but he ain't woke up in what, years?
Right. So,
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, it's cool. Add all that stuff as long as you keep all the original stuff. And I just got a feeling they kept the original high points, but they changed. Like the Scorpion battle has been changed. The thing that I was trying to do to get into that room,
Mm-hmm.
I had to do it at the same time. That happened in the original game, but that was like, I believe, on the first mission. In
what room?
So there was a room to get into, starting to do that boss that you just did.
Mm-hmm.
But there was another room, the storage room, where it had all the missiles and the stuff that you took off that robot. Well, you had to do it in sync. You had to pull
the lever or whatever.
All three of y'all. Tifa had two. You had one. Barrett had one. And y'all had to do it in sync. That happened in the original game, but it wasn't for that part of the game.
Yeah.
It was a whole different part of the game.
So and when you get stuff, what do you do with it?
I don't know yet. Some of the stuff, the items were just regular items. So I don't know yet because I didn't fight that boss yet because I was too scared. No, I'm just joking. I just ran out of time because we had to go to a drive-by baby shower.
Yep.
Shout out.
Yep.
So I ran out of time. But like I said, that particular thing where you had to do something in sync at the same time happened in the original game. It didn't happen there. It happened way sooner in the game. And it was you having to press two buttons at the same time with the computer. So you're putting stuff that people remember in, but you're changing the context of it and when it happened and why it's happening. And
kind of moving it around.
Yeah, I'm just like, whatever.
One thing I will say, and I feel like it's nitpicky because of how good the graphics are.
Graphics dope.
But for as good as the graphics are and how beautiful everything is,
graphics dope.
There are some kind of odd movements and stuff that happen. Like I noticed when they're in the slums and Tifa's like running in front of you or in front of Cloud, like her feet look really weird. Like when she runs,
like she's on ice.
It just looks awkward. It's like, what? Why do your feet look like that?
If they run in front of you, they become a shadow.
I don't know what it is. It's just like, and then when she talks, she's like, well, what do you think? And she does her arm all weird. It's like, it doesn't look natural for how good the graphics are.
And so I think some of those are language things. How it may be in there in another language, how the hands made.
Oh,
but it looks like a mannequin. It's just like, how can we prevent this? And her arm just like.
Well, and given along with the language, when we played it back in the day, it was blocky. So it may still be just, even though the graphics were changed, everything behind the mechanics wasn't. Like you said, you like fighting as Tifa, and I hate it because she has to get close up.
I like it. If I'm gonna get them there and punch, boy, I punch your face, boy.
Right, but now her move, like I said, I mean,
moves are cool.
But I like Cloud's Punisher mode, which
I don't even use Punisher mode. I use the regular mode.
I use Punisher mode because
the Punisher mode is a heavy hitting mode, right? It's slower,
but it also does a lot. You can I'm always in defense mode, so everything is a counter. So anytime somebody hits you, it's a counter. So if you're in a large group, somebody swings up, counter. Especially the thing that used to the 2 times that I did die is usually when I fought the 5 or 6 guys with the shields. I
think that's the only time I used the Punisher mode.
Because it'll leave you defenseless. Because you'll swing, you hit the shield, and it'll leave you wide open. And so I think that's one of the times. Because Barrett, his gun. And depending on where you are, there were a couple times when it was like things stationed around and he wouldn't shoot the right thing first.
Yeah, he'd be fighting the enemy like closest to him.
Correct.
As opposed to going and shooting off the stuff that I couldn't reach with my sword.
Correct.
So I would have to switch to him and be like, okay, what are you doing? Okay.
And so that's like I said, some of the game mechanics have issues, and they're frustrating, but they're not overly frustrating to where you
because the battles themselves are not that difficult. Like for me, I haven't died at all yet, from what I can remember. It's not too difficult of a game. It's pretty easy so far.
And a lot of that's camera issue too, though. You can get killed because of camera issue, because of the way the camera is laid out. Because
now I think I've gotten close to dying because it is kind of hard to keep an eye on your health.
Yeah, it's tiny.
It's tiny, and while you're trying to do an action versus turn based,
right. Turn-based, you could always pay attention because you didn't have to get your ATB all the way up either. You automatically just had the right to use your magic. Here, you have to wait until those 2 little bars at the bottom have something in them in order to use it. That was a no-no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just look, my whole thing with Final Fantasy VII was always this: upgrade the graphics and put some voiceovers in there.
Which they did.
But I ain't tell you to change all this other stuff. Right? I ain't tell you to change the story. I ain't tell you to add nothing to the story. I ain't tell you to change the battle system. I didn't tell you to change how the weapons upgrade, which is new. They got this whole sphere grid that's kind of hard to maneuver through for some reason.
Yeah, because if you use the L3, it goes a certain way. If you use the pad, it goes the opposite way. So
yeah, so it's kind of hard to maneuver through that screen. But I didn't tell you to do all that.
It's irrelevant.
You could, again, it's the highest selling game that your company has ever put out. All you need to do is upgrade the graphics and put some overdub on it.
People were still playing this game 15, 20 years later, the original, and they didn't need it. You actually, the graphics are comparable to 15.
Yeah.
15. And 15 is beautiful too. And it's not hack and slash. It's a still turn-based mythology with it. So it's, you can, and even that style would have been okay. Because that had the 13 way.
Yeah.
This one is just kind of like, man, stop it.
So but it's one of those things where the music is still good. The story isn't bad. There's a lot of fluff in there, which if you never played the original, you don't know it's fluff. So it's not that big a deal.
But for us who play, we're like, huh?
Right. The whole motorcycle scene, which I remember happening as you were exiting Midgar, as you were leaving Midgar, not some random mission in the middle of Midgar.
But the dude wasn't all up in your face like...
There was no dude, from what I remember. There were just goons that were chasing you, and you were trying to run and leave the city.
Yeah,
so So the music is still good. The graphics are off the chain. The I don't want to say the battle system is bad. It's just I prefer turn-based better. It's not bad. It's just there was already something in place that was better than what you put in this game. I guess that's the best way for me to put it. I felt more like, I don't want to say I didn't feel like I was playing Final Fantasy VII. That's not what I mean. Kinda like the world, the environments were familiar. So it's like, okay. And the characters were extremely familiar.
But you feel like it was a major change.
Well, I just,
if you felt like you kind of on borderline of playing Final Fantasy, the original, that's a major.
Well, it's I guess what I'm trying to say is I felt like I was playing a game with Final Fantasy characters in it. Final Fantasy VII characters in it, as opposed to I'm playing Final Fantasy VII. I didn't feel like I was playing Final Fantasy VII. Let's put it that way.
But what if you take away the comparison and you just look at just the game for what it is, like the mechanics, the graphics, the story, like forget the comparing to how it was.
I'm playing this game because it's Final Fantasy VII.
No, I know, but you can't grade it based on how it compared to the first game.
Yeah, I don't plan on grading in a comparison, but just my opinion on it. Like I said, I don't feel like I was playing Final Fantasy VII.
Well, based upon what you made on the Neo conversation, is the fact that it fits into a style of gameplay, and this one didn't fit into an RPG for me. I mean,
no.
And even with JRPG, that only thing about the JRPG is you're leveling, because most JRPGs have strategy. This didn't have a strategy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it did if you wanted to flip flop between people, but and you know, the way you get your weapons, like Cloud initially got his second sword at a shop. Tifa got her glove open in the chest, and then Barrett got his weapon from a Biggs. But you could have your weapons before then. You didn't have to wait until when you went in the shop or the next shop that upgraded, you could get a weapon. And so
and sometimes I had to skip on Final Fantasy VII. I ain't enough money to get the new weapon.
This one is just like Big says, hey, here's this new light machine gun, which this game is funny because his machine and because of the graphics and the way it looks on his arm,
mm-hmm.
It looks like it was done well, but
the thing I didn't like about his character that maybe like you said might have been the outdated part of it. You were on a train with these people. You're big and you're swole, and you got a machine gun for your arm, and people are like bucking up to you.
Right.
And no one has any idea that you're the rebel group.
Right.
That's blowing up stuff. What? Like, you got this dude running around this train with this humongous sword and a machine gun for a hand, and people are just like, eh.
Right.
Like whatevs.
Right. Like, this is just how things are.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the outdated portion.
And I don't see nobody else running around looking like that.
That, like I said, like his daughter, that was outdated for me, because they didn't,
I can't remember though. Did they ever explain? I thought they explained it at some point. Like, it wasn't his daughter. I got to go back, but I thought
if they did, it was later on.
Yeah,
she's really cute though.
Graphic wise, like I said, it's just beautiful. I don't remember the landlord lady.
No, that's new. That's new.
Man.
Tifa's a hottie. I mean, I'm just gonna say it. I think so.
They've made her look really, really good without overly making everything else look bigger on her.
Yeah, but at the same time, it was bigger in the original game. So they made it look more normal, I guess.
Okay.
Because in the original game, it was bigger.
Even what's the name looked cute.
Jessie?
Even though she ran away. No, Flower Girl.
No, yeah.
She looked really, really cute. They made her look cute in this one as well. So most of the females looked, they were polished really well.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, it just I wanted to play and come in and say, yes, I was wrong. The original one, because the original one wasn't my favorite. And I don't want to grade it based upon the original, of course.
I mean, it's hard not to, but
the way the first one played, I agreed with more. Let me say this. That was more my style at that time. Like, I could sit here, I had me a sandwich. I had me some Kool-Aid. I don't drink Kool-Aid anymore. I drink lemonade.
But that just mean he had money. We had this conversation
maybe
before.
he had the
this whole
off-brand Kool-Aid.
Could this whole thing that we drink Kool-Aid? I never had no Kool-Aid. I had literally 3 packets of Kool-Aid ever in my life as a childhood.
I had tons of Kool-Aid growing up.
I had Flavor Aid.
We had Flavor Aid too
because it was 10 for $1.
We start
regular Kool-Aid, 3 for $1.
Well, Kool-Aid wasn't a problem. It was the sugar that was expensive. And I could play it, stop, eat my sandwich, drink my juice, and then go back. This one, you can pause it, but it doesn't have the same feel. If you're going down a ladder, it's a pause. You can't look at it, and you can't stop and look at your menu. But
you can hold the button and go down the ladder faster.
Yeah.
So ANX pro tip.
Yeah, that's added. There are a lot of hiccups like we were talking about that I'm just not cool with right now. And the problem with this is the developers probably are not going to fix all of it. That's just the way they're not going to fix it.
Now, like you said though, it's also not making the game unplayable.
Right.
Like I said, I don't want to say it's unplayable, but the part that's what make it unplayable for me is them messing up the story. Because again, that was my main thing that I liked about 7 was the story and the characters.
Yeah.
And they already kind of tweaked the characters a little bit, but as long as they don't mess up the story, okay.
I mean, Cloud is stale, but Cloud was stale in the first.
That's messed up because she kept saying Cloud reminded her of me.
Oh.
So what you trying to say?
Because he's like, I don't dance. I was like, oh, that sounds like you. And then like somebody tried to give him a high five and he just was like, no. I'm like, oh, that's like you. Yeah. Like he's just not very like personable at all. Not that you're not personable, but you're not like.
Yeah, I'm not high fiving. Get out of here.
Yeah,
we got time for that.
I ain't gonna say nothing about all of that.
Now, how do you feel about this? This is one part. It's small. It's small. I admit that it's small, but it irked me.
What?
There's no victory battle music.
Yeah.
Every now and then, I think I might have heard it twice. Barrett to go. Da, 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 da.
Yeah, that was like notoriously.
But like that's a Final Fantasy thing. Forget 7, right?
Oh, just in general, that's a Final Fantasy thing.
That's a Final Fantasy thing. They had a different version of it for the different games, but at the end of the battle, when you got a victory,
that was a Final Fantasy thing. I mean, you don't hear it in like 15 or anything, but
ain't nobody play 15. Don't nobody care about that. Riding around in cars and stuff. Forza cars. Forza 6 cars. Get out of here, man.
No. I'm talking about Realm Reborn.
That's 14.
14. 15 is, 15. No, on 14, I don't hear the victory music.
I don't remember because it's been like 5 years. That's also an MMO. So right.
You don't think they'll stick to the.
But all the rest, the regular RPGs, 9, 8, 9, 10, you won a battle, it did the music.
Even if you were riding a chocobo and you were doing a race and you won the race, it did that music.
Yeah, it was standard victory music. If there was some kind of, I don't want to say achievement because that might confuse people because we got achievements now, but any type of victory, that's the music you heard.
Kind of like on Star Wars, like dun 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 dun. Like the standard Star Wars music when they'd like win a battle.
Yeah. But this was after every fight.
Oh, okay.
Right. Yeah, it was after every fight.
Every fight.
Oh.
And now you just hear Barrett say it every once in a while. And it's not even music. It's just him saying it.
Yeah.
So it's supposed to be like nostalgic, but at the same time, I feel like it's just like, I'd just rather have my music. Give me my music. I didn't tell you to change this. Like, why are you?
I gave you a list of what to do and you didn't follow it.
We know only Niantic for Pokemon Go listens.
Yeah.
Apparently Square Enix does not listen.
No. So, you ready to talk about price for at least at this point for what you 1 through 5 or 1 through what'd you say 5? Yeah.
Yeah, chapters 1 through 5.
It may change once you play more of the game.
Yeah, once I play more of the game. $55. Still good. Like I said, I want to let people know about my disappointment in this game versus the original game.
Right.
Hard to live up to because I believe Final Fantasy VII is the best game ever made.
Sure.
However, this game just by itself, like you were saying, don't compare it to 7.
If you just look at, just the mechanics and the graphics and everything else.
$55.
So not even full price.
Nah.
But almost.
Yeah, almost.
Okay.
You know what? I had not thought about a price with this game. It's more than $40, and it's in the $50 range. It's in the $50 range. I won't say it's $60, at all, because there are some things that I don't like.
Mm-hmm.
I stick with 50.
50.
Okay.
I'll stick with 50.
That's close.
Because it's so hack and slash based.
Yeah.
You just run up to them, that's swag.
Right.
Okay, now I can use a spell, weakness, boom, killed it. Now, that depends on what it is. If it's the missile launchers, they take a little bit more to kill. But the bear can sit there and shoot them things if he locks onto them, he can sit up there and shoot them. They'll come down pretty fast. It's not hard. It just depends on how the camera is too.
I
expected more.
Yeah, I expected more. I expected more. The fact that you're remaking one, regardless if you think it's the best game or not, this game, everybody wanted this game.
Yeah.
So much hype around it, and I expected more. For the hype purpose, for the fact that you're remaking one of the best games, you're remaking the top-selling game that you've ever put out.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the best characters that you put out in Cloud and Sephiroth, you're remaking that game. I expected more. And I expect more from Square Enix anyway, just in general.
Yeah.
But
That's kind of a bummer.
It seems like over the past few years, all they've been putting out is pretty games. And they haven't had a lot of substance to it. This one is kind of the same thing. It's not a lot of substance to it, a lot of filler. And it's like, come on, let's get to the point.
Don't get me wrong. I know people's attention spans is different. When it comes to gaming, they want something they can put in there and be done with. But for those who truly enjoy the Final Fantasy series, give them what you're supposed to give them. Don't make a game that you feel like, oh, okay. No, because we're putting time and effort in. If I'm gonna put time and effort in, I expect it to be done a certain way.
This one, for sure, I don't think the developers should have. If they did make those changes to expand to a wider audience, I definitely disagree with that on this, because when you're remaking something that is so long awaited for, and you have hardcore, like diehard fans, then yeah, you should have just left it as close as possible.
Now, a lot of the feedback that I've seen so far on the game are from people who have completed the whole game, Final Fantasy VII Remake. And everybody had positive things to say about it.
Okay, so once they were done with it.
Yeah. So I'm thinking that once we get to the main story and some of the main key things that we know are going to happen, I think we might be satisfied as far as our original Final Fantasy VII comparisons.
And that's the thing. Like what I've read so far, a lot of people weren't happy. Now what I'm saying that didn't mean they completed it either.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like I said, all the feedback I've seen is from people who beat the whole game.
Yeah, I did some on some other places, and they were like, they were a little disgruntled because of how it was for us, and I could see that. Like, I'm not saying that you had to make the game just, but don't make it feel like I said. One of my things was I felt like it was outdated. Graphics aren't the only thing that make a game outdated. The language can make the game outdated.
Yeah.
And so do better. And some of the stuff I feel like they didn't do better.
Do you think they'll make a remake of anything else? Like of 8?
Oh, I'm sure they'll make a remake of 8 at some point. I think there was some problem with some of the code that they lost. So I think they found it, and that's why they finally came out with the remaster.
I really feel like the issues we having right now, the second part of this, I think they may try to fix it. Now, the language may still be the same because it's just, I mean, it is what it is. That over the top, Barrett is an over the top character. And I guess that doesn't translate well.
Well, and what they made the situation seem, now we're not in a place right now where the situation is dire, but this is kind of silly right now. The enemies and the bad guys are just all flamboyant and over the top and silly. Nothing seems serious, like, except for when you see Sephiroth. Those parts seem like really, really serious. All this other stuff doesn't seem serious at all, and it's just kind of like... I
mean, the one part where the dude is sitting in there lounging, he's like, they tried to kill you, and they go in there. Even that was silly. When the bomb didn't blow up the way it was supposed to, and the other ones came in there, and they were like looking at the robots, were looking at each other like, do you want us to make this explode? That portion was silly. That was that like little funny portion.
Like this whole thing of the bad guy, and we have cameras and we can see you, but we're just gonna let you just keep running through this place, and we're gonna make a TV show out of it, and right. I'm a hologram, and I'm telling you to release the big robot, and somebody's telling me, oh, it's not ready yet, sir. What? I'm live broadcasting right now. It's silly.
Yeah.
Like, this stuff is silly, and it's just like I don't remember a whole lot of Final Fantasy being silly, except for the Honeybee Inn. That's the only really silly part that I ever remember.
I just think that I think that, and a little bit of that is the voices. The voices have made it sound a lot sillier than the voiceovers.
Now, what I will say is all the people that I've seen who liked the game, that completed it, I don't think they're our age, and I'm not saying I'm his age at all, but they are younger than me as well. Let's put it that way. So some of the main things that I keep seeing is, oh, did you see Tifa in that dress? Did you see, like, they're just so caught up in like the graphics and how it looks.
Oh, so I wonder if they even play the original.
Probably not.
Yeah, I mean, if they're younger than you.
I mean, I would assume so. Like,
this is why I say that. The old school RPGs aren't for the faint at heart, because they are very, 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 very.
But I just can't see a casual gamer posting that much about a game on social media unless they, you see what I'm saying? Unless they played the original or had some kind of tie into it. Now, if they finish off 7 like this, and they do remake 8, but they change some of the stuff that we're complaining about today, the Final Fantasy VIII remake could be the best game ever made.
Yeah.
Because of the seriousness and the tone, and
it was very serious game.
In Final Fantasy VIII. I'm not saying 7 wasn't, but you've already now made 7 not so serious.
Right.
So if you do, like, do you remember those cutscenes from 8?
Yeah.
Well, Ultimacia and she just killing folks and she just wrecking shop. Final Fantasy VIII remake, if they do it correctly with these types of graphics and these voiceovers, could be the best game ever made. As of right now, Final Fantasy VII for me is still the best game ever made. The remake does not
do it.
No.
That's a bummer. Well, so far. Right. We're still in the beginning.
Yeah. So like I said, once we do the next third of the game, we will come back and talk about that and see if it's gotten better and how we feel about it.
Yeah. And then you can decide if you want to do the last part.
Oh, Lord. Got to do the last part because I already know what's going to happen in the last part.
I don't.
Exactly. So that's why I have to do the last part. Y'all ready to wrap up the show?
Let's wrap it up.
Yes.
Let's see. Oh, I got a little wrap up screen there. Follow us. Social media. At ANX Gamecast on all social media outlets. What's up?
Oh,
No. You just staring. You kind of staring off into space. You just ready to go play Final Fantasy, right?
No, I'm just listening.
All right.
Follow us.
Okay, so yeah, follow us. So y'all can jump in and be like, follow. Yeah.
Come on.
Terrence still ain't saying nothing. As far as the podcast, you can find us wherever you get your favorite podcasts. And if you're tired of listening and you want to see some action, if you want to see unbiased ants just staring at me from across the room, check us out on YouTube under AVersion TV. We are the one that is not in Spanish.
That's it for today, guys. Thanks for listening to ANX Gamecast. Join us next week where we will have our full NBA 2K20 review. See you next time.
Yu-Gi-Oh!